After my latest couple of projects, I've decided that I needed to take on something lighter. Not just an Admirable Animation, but something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. I'm going to show you a bunch of random animations from the internet. I'm not going to string them together with any sort of theme, but the less known they are, the better. I'm surprised how underappreciated that some of these are. This is going to be a lot like my Gregory Horror Show review, because most of these don't even clock it at 10 minutes, and I don't want to get into the main details of them and spoil them. I'm also going to avoid things that belong to full-on series, like Ed's World. I'm saving those kind of things for another episode. And if I find some more cool web animations, I'll do this again. As for now, let's hope we have some fun. The link to all of these will be in the description so you can see them for yourself. Let's start with an animation called Going Green. This stars a bunch of streetlights in a way similar to what Pixar does with inanimate objects. One little light seems bored with his everyday life of clicking from red to green and back to red, when one day a tree comes by being hauled by a truck. He's fascinated by it, but when he needs to click back to green, the tree is gone. However, some of the birds flock around him. When he flicks to red, the bird is gone and he can't get it back. This sparks a war between the light and the boss light, who controls which color all the other lights are supposed to be. Like many of these shorts, it's done with no dialogue, and it's impressive how they pretty much do the changing of tradition story without it.
There's a man in the woods. What a spectacle.
This is an expertly told poem put to animation. The actual animation isn't the best, but considering the competition, it's pretty good. However, where the short shines is in the story and the way it tells it.
My students used to skip down the hill to the honeysuckle, pluck a couple, and collect their nectar till they picked their fill. Except one obnoxious kid, Sid.
One of the greatest things about these web shows is that the creators don't have to appeal to any target audience or follow a network's order, and so you get the darker things like this. It tells the story of a kid named Sid who spread rumors of a killer in the woods. The narrator drives this one home. As the animation goes on, he gets progressively angrier, and it's completely understandable where his hatred comes from.
That's not fair. The stories that worried you weren't true. Of course I would feel regret had there been a real threat and I ignored it, and some poor kid got kidnapped while the kids were napping. But
how this animation doesn't have more than 15,000 views, I'll never know. Coldplay's Viva La Vida is one of my favorite songs of all time, but it always bugged me how it never had a music video that took advantage of the possibilities. Take it to Dylan Woodley, a guy who makes Lego stop-motion shorts, to actually make one. It took him over 2 years to do this, and every little bit of the animation is impressive. By the way, this is one of the reasons we should have laxer copyright laws. If we could see more things like this based on popular songs, it'd be great. This tells the story that the song does, and does it exceptionally well. The Lego stop-motion is some of his best. Almost every second, there's something moving, and some of these effects had to be a pain in the ass. His other animations are cute and charming, by the way, but I don't think that he'd done anything else this grand. Speaking of cute and charming, we have Monster Box. This one is a hard thing to describe. It's about a little girl with the most epic hair imaginable, buying birdhouses from an old man. Of course, because this is a fantasy world through and through, these creatures are, I guess you could describe them as monsters. Each one of these creations is clever and unique, almost like something out of a video game. This is another short told without dialogue. In fact, I came across a lot of them, and I began to wonder if there was some sort of competition I was unaware of to make an animated short with no dialogue, but probably not. It's unlikely for a good animator to also be a good voice actor, and these people are really good animators. This short lives on the charming story that it manages to tell, and I just love the art direction on this one. And then there's the ending that I won't spoil for you here. EMI or Emmy or I don't know. This one is French, so I'm not going to know what they were going for. Don't worry though, like Monster Box and Going Green, this story is told entirely without dialogue. Unfortunately, this really doesn't work towards the animation's favor, as there are some points where the characters really should be talking, but aren't. Also, the animation here is kinda uncanny. If you're doing independent animation, I'd recommend going with stylization like Monster Box to prevent that effect. This animation is highly metaphorical to the point where I really don't know what it's about. This is one of the surefire you need to interpret it kind of things. I tried to put as little of them as possible on this list, because most independent projects are going to try this no matter what medium you've chosen. What's my interpretation? I saw the top comment on this video about being about a transplant. If the man gives the daughter his whatever, he'll die. If he doesn't, she'll die. That's just my, or rather, a interpretation. I don't know if this is cheating or whatever, but Bronte is a song by Gautier. This music video is uploaded to his channel, and I haven't seen it anywhere else, so what the fuck, I'll count it. And also, when am I gonna get the chance to talk about this again? The song Bronte was originally about the death of a dog, but this music video recontextualizes it to be about growing up, and leaving behind your childhood. The art direction here is beautiful, like something out of a Miyazaki work, and the story manages to tell through animation and music is just heartbreaking.
Today, students, we're going to learn about oxygen. Element number 8, atomic mass 16, and an ambitious young student in elementary school.
Now let's have something to cheer us up. This is what an educational animation should be like.
See that, students? Oxygen repels helium, much like a magnet. Looks as though helium has gone off to play somewhere else.
It tells how oxygen reacts with other periodic elements, and it does it so incredibly humorously. In fact, if you're a school teacher or something, I'd highly recommend checking this out. It could be a great teaching tool, and yeah, it's just plain funny.
That's it for oxygen. Be sure to watch our next lesson where we investigate the effects of helium in the upper atmosphere.
It doesn't get more metaphorical than this. I've seen this one multiple times, as it's most likely the oldest animation on this list, and I still don't know what this animation is about. It's another one of those up to interpretation things. That's not why I want to talk about this one though. This animation was entirely made with open source software, and intentionally done so. It's completely Creative Commons and is free to be remixed, which it has been many times. This means that budget is an excuse, by the way, so suck it, Control-Alt-Delete. And finally, reflection. This is one of my favorites that I managed to stumble upon looking for candidates for this video. The animation looks like something out of an 80s animated movie, very similar to something like The Last Unicorn. Every piece of this animation is perfectly executed, and like many of the others above, the music helps tell the tale. If you don't count background chanting, this also tells its story without dialogue, and probably does it the best, since it doesn't feel absent like it did in Emmy, and it had the potential to use it unlike in Going Green. The story tells of Medusa, and how she was cursed by Athena to turn people into stone, and pretty much how alone she is. It's another one that deserves so many more views than it has. Check it out, and by extension, all of these when you have the time.